It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Coming up in just a little bit, Jeff and Gina, we're going to take a look, in fact, as we speak, I think, at the quarterly results. They're just coming in from Facebook and from Apple. Good news and bad news. Robert Scoble's giving up on glass. What a surprise. And a special plea to get Gina into Google I.O. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com.
It's time for Twig This Week in Google, episode 246, recorded April 23rd, 2014. That puts the F in the FCC. This Week in Google is brought to you by Full Sail University. Full Sail offers both online and campus degree programs centered on real-world experience in the entertainment, media, and technology industries. For more information, visit fullsail.edu/twig. And by 99 Designs, the world's largest graphic design marketplace. 99 Designs connects businesses seeking quality, affordable designs with a community of more than 295,000 graphic designers. Visit 99designs.com/twig to receive a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99. And by Nature Box, where you can order great tasting healthy snacks delivered right to your door. Forget the vending machine and get in shape with healthy, delicious treats like chili lime pistachios. Oh, baby. So you get 50% off your first box. Go to naturebox.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show that covers not just Google, I hasten to add, but all of the cloud stuff, the social stuff, anything online. And frankly, anything that Jeff and Gina want to talk about. Jeff Jarvis is here from the City University of New York, CUNY. He is a professor of journalism there. He's also the author of What Would Google Do? And his latest is Public Parts. And he joins us each week to rant, rave, and shave his beard.
You got a problem with that?
We'll talk about the shaving in just a bit. But first, let's say hello to your co-host, the lovely and talented Gina Trapani. From Brooklyn, New York. She is the developer, one of the developers behind ThinkUp. I guess you're the developer at ThinkUp.
I'm a CTO, if you want to talk about highfalutin titles.
You're the person. Yeah. She's the CTO of ThinkUp at thinkup.com.
Or as Mark Zuckerberg would say, CTO, bitch.
The yacht.
He wouldn't say that, but he would.
Not what I would say, but yes.
No, I know you would.
That.
No. And I'm glad you're feeling better. She's also the host of All About Android and missed the show yesterday. And I bet you it was killing you because Kosh was on the show yesterday.
It was killing me. I was typing. I was like, Jason said, do you have any questions? And I started typing a very long email with many questions. So I was really sad.
Kaushik Dutra, who was on the Cyanogen Mod team and now does Clockwork Mod, Helium, and Allcast. I haven't seen the show yet. Anything you want to share from that show? I mean, he's just great. I just think he's a
I actually have it queued up in my player. Yeah. I haven't been able to watch it either. I had a busy day today, excited. So but I was really sad to miss it. Problem with having a 1-year-old is that you get every single cold that her classmates at school get. So
I'll be feeling a little better.
But I'm excited. It's definitely. I'm sure it's a great interview.
Yeah. Last night's all about Android. So Google I.O. Let's talk a little bit about that before we get into the news. It's coming up. We're excited about it. End of June, right? Everybody's going to be there, except not all of us. Google, well, you know, I think it got to be very popular. And this might be Google's fault a little bit because they keep giving away so much stuff that I think everybody wants to go. And, of course, Google, this is their developer conference. Their strongest interest is in getting in people who are, you know, Android and Google developers.
Yeah.
That's what the event's for. And then there's press. But we you know, we warm up seats, and traditionally we haven't had too much trouble getting in. This year they told us only 2 passes. So now we have a conundrum.
And the only reason I'm included is because I applied from saying Twig was my affiliation.
As you should have. Now, I'm not going to go. I've already recused myself, mostly because we're going to cover it live, and it's impossible to cover the keynote live if you're in the keynote, unless you want to. As I did try once, and it didn't work well. So And now Larry's coming to the stage, and he's brought his 8-iron. I think So I'll stay home, and we'll cover it live. We'll do the live keynote, of course. And then what we've done in the past, and this worked quite well, is that Jeff and Gina would be in the event. Actually, I went last year, but traditionally Jeff and Gina be in the event, and then rush up here and we'd do it This Week in Google. Unfortunately, we can't get you both in.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get a press pass, which I was okay with.
Well, we got 2, and then I, in my most Solomonic mode, gave one to Jason Howell of All About Android.
Yeah,
he really wanted to go.
Be there.
Yeah, and then one to Jeff. And what I was hoping, and this was our gamble, is that you would apply as a developer. We'd pay for all of that, but that you would get in as a developer, because you are a developer. You're an Android developer. To-do.txt is an Android app.
Right. And I went through the application process, which asked you, you know, do you have an app in the Play Store? If so, what's the URL? They authorized the $900 on my credit card through Google Wallet, because that's the cost of the, you know, without charging you. And I thought, okay, you know, I answered a few questions, and I thought, you know, what I'm interested in, that kind of thing. And I thought, okay, it seems like I should have a good shot if I do.
Do you think that they look at all that stuff, or is it totally random?
I mean, why? Well, I mean, why would they ask if you had an app in the Play Store if they didn't look at it? So I thought I had a good shot, but I didn't.
Did they ask if you have the most listened to show about Google in the entire world? Did they ask that?
They didn't ask that.
Yeah, see, they need a new field on the form.
They need a new field for that.
2 of the most listened to shows. All About Android is easily the #1 Android show in the nation, in the world. And this is about the only show about Google in the world, so we win on that.
So, Leo, do you think anybody from Google watches this show?
Well, that's the irony of that, is that nobody at Google watches this show or has any idea we even exist. Apparently,
apparently not.
I would really like to get Gina in. I was totally willing to pay the $900. That wasn't the problem at all.
Well, so everybody stands here. Let's be clear here. Gina's getting in no matter what. I'm transferring my pass to Gina.
Well, hold on, Mr. Gallant.
But
I know he's being so gentlemanly.
We want to have the show there. Gina and I are a Google couple. We need to be there to split apart this Google marriage.
We're willing to cross countries and time zones. We're ready.
We're willing to fly out, coach, for God's sakes, to see this thing.
I actually I don't know what I was going to say.
You're not going to fly, Coach?
I actually would give you my pass, Gina, if I had one, but I don't. So don't think it's just Jeff is the only person that would do that.
No, you're both very gallant.
I gave Jeff my pass.
We can work this out.
I don't want the audience going after me and saying, Jarvis is going and not Gina?
And the reason we want to go, of course, is because we want to give you the best possible coverage.
Yes.
And they might give away a watch. Weird kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll admit I kind of want the watch. You know, it's funny. I have really mixed feelings about this, because on one hand, I'm sad that I didn't get in, but on the other, Kevin and I did this whole episode of In Beta talking about these big developer shows and how they had turned into these press events, and how people who got in were only people who had money and who were there that 2 minutes when the registration was open. So there's a part of me that's really kind of glad that Google's cracking down on press and making the application process for developers, you know, a lot more sort of equal opportunity. Like, I'm all for that.
The rest of the press and the other developers. You're different.
I just want to say that if Google's smart, they will give no swag away at this year's Google I/O, and they will never have this problem again. The people, half the number of people sign up.
People who are going to spend the money and go to the effort to go to this are going to be those who care.
Right.
And there was a story somewhere down on the rundown today about Google Glass, and a Google person said, we charge $1,500 because we wanted people who are serious about this.
Yeah.
So Google should have people who are serious about this. I agree. But you know, in all truth, by being there last year, I really did absorb a lot that affects our coverage through the year. I mean, I understood more about Android strategy and Chrome strategy and voice strategy and all these other things. And to hang around with the people who actually do this stuff for dumb old me is really useful.
I do have to say that what's happening to my brain? I don't know. I can't remember what I had to say. It was seconds ago. I do have to say that we will cover it no matter what. And that all of these developer conferences are huge, mostly because of the success of I mean, because of things like WhatsApp. I mean, if you want to make money in the tech business these days, you're an app developer. You're developing either for iOS or Android. WWDC, and Apple does not give away anything to developers. WWDC, same issue. So, the signups go instantly. They just can't make these big enough. Now, to Google's credit, the entire thing is streaming, right? So if you're a developer, what you lose is the press, the flesh, the meeting people, the connections you make, but the content is available to you instantly, right?
And the swag, I think, is really part of it. It has sort of become like Oprah's Christmas special, where it's not just fans, it's the folks that want to get the stuff. And look, I'll admit, I'm part of that. If they're giving away to watch, I want my fans, on the watch first, right? Because most likely it'll be a prototype and it won't be out to everyone yet. And I'm a developer and I'll get to develop not only in a simulator, but on an actual piece of hardware. That'd be amazing. If there's going to be a low-powered Nexus, if they're, whatever that they have kind of up their sleeves, of course I want access to that. So there's that part of it. And I'll admit being part of that culture as well.
Gina, the important thing there too is, listen. I've proven I'll buy anything they make. Jesus, can I
and we know this, yeah.
Chromebook, can I prove that? So that's not the issue. But 2 years ago when you guys went, sorry, there go my lights. And you got, even though it didn't really turn into a product, what was the round thing? The
Nexus Q.
The Q, right? I mean, that's what made me jealous, is because you had something that no one else had.
And never got.
And
never had again.
I wanted to play with it and understand where their brain was and what they were thinking. That's the more valuable piece of the swag. I'll buy Google. I'll buy it. I'll be buying the Nexus 8 if you do it. I'll buy all your stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not that I don't want to pay. It's that you want it sooner, right?
Exactly.
And don't forget Glass as well.
Right.
You got to sign up for Glass.
And by the way, Google, I bought the damn Glass. I bought the darn lenses. I mean, really, how far do I have to go? I wrote a book about you. Come on, babe. Come on.
I don't want to spend too much of the show begging, but there you go. There you have it. We will cover it no matter what. One of these guys will be there. If with any luck, both of them will be there, and I will stay home, and you can bring back the Glass. We have Facebook quarterly results just coming in. Also, word, and I'm going to check this, that Apple has issued a 7-to-1 stock split. That must be an error. 2-to-1? Apple splitting stocks 7-to-1. We're going to check that out. While I do a little commercial, we'll get the latest news. Jeff and Gina are here. This is This Week in Google. The begging is over. The show will now begin. I just imagine every time we talk about that kind of stuff, I know Matt Cutts listens, and last time he said he was running, and he was listening, and he stopped, and he ended his run so he could quickly report a bug. So, Matt, continue to run. It's fine. We'll be fine. Don't interrupt your run on our account. Hey, our show today brought to you by a great sponsor I'm really excited about, Full Sail University. Full Sail they have both a campus and an online degree program centered on real-world experience in entertainment, media, and technology. You can find out more at fullsail.edu/twig. Marketers, if you're in the business, maybe you watch our show Marketing Mavericks, this is a fast-paced, fast-moving world. And right now, you got to be proficient at using advanced web-based tools and techniques. You've got to be able to reach customers and consumers in the digital environment. Online marketing, things like web-based channels, search technologies, analytics, are all kind of things you need to know to be in the forefront of today's advertising and branding strategies. Full Sail University offers an online internet marketing master's degree program designed for professionals who want to keep pace with these new marketing technologies. You'll be learning things like search engine optimization, social media marketing, web metrics analytics, and online consumer behavior. You'll be working on real projects with real clients. That's how you can best gain experience and generate results and learn from industry experienced instructors. Full Sail University's online and campus degree programs are always centered on real-world education and experience with industry, technology, and workflow. Through their innovative curriculum, you'll earn your master's degree in just 12 months. How about that? All while you work at your regular job. Through Full Sail's Project Launchbox program, students also get this, a MacBook Pro preloaded with Apple's complete line of creative software tools, as well as degree-specific sets of pro-level applications. How do you like that? In addition to internet marketing, it's not the only one. They also offer a variety of master's programs in related fields, including business intelligence. That would be a skill to learn. Innovation and entrepreneurship, and new media journalism. To learn more about Full Sail's master degree program in internet marketing or any of their related programs, visit our website, fullsail.edu/twig. Full Sail, FULLSAIL, like your sails are billowing out and you're on your way to the finish line. Fullsail.edu/twig for more information. Let me see if I can find some info on, speaking of information, on the Apple stock split.
There's also something else. We got lots of breaking news today. We got the FCC proposing new net neutrality rules that kill net neutrality.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that nice?
So,
bastards.
I'm going to go to investor.apple.com.
So the chat room says Apple raising share buyback from 90 billion to 90 billion from 60 billion. There's a link in the chat room to TechCrunch on the split. 7-for-1 stock split boosts its dividend 8%.
I've heard of 2-for-1. That's what Google just did. I've heard of 3-for-2, 7-to-1.
But here's the funny thing. After Google's split, Apple stock, Google's been falling. It's only $13 away from Apple being the higher price than Google. You think they want to get there first and then split?
So these are the Apple quarterly earnings are coming in for fiscal Q2. 43.7 million iPhones, 16.3 million iPads, 4.1 million Macs. That's a significant drop in iPhones, by the way. It was 51 million.
What was that again?
They went from 51 million in the first quarter to 43.7 million in the second quarter. Big drop. Wow. Went from 26 million iPads in the first quarter to 16 million in the second quarter. Big drop.
Isn't that a normal though Q2?
It is because, is
there a quarter? Is there a calendar? Are they calendar or no?
No, it's fiscal. So Q1 is the calendar fourth quarter. It's the Christmas quarter.
Right.
So yes, there is always a drop, but that seems like a significant drop. Now, year to year, it's not so bad. Year to year, and so the second quarter is often a bad quarter. Last year, it was 37.4 million iPhones. This year, 43. So they're up.
All right, so they're up year over year.
However, last year was 19 million iPads, and this year was 16 million. So iPhones are up year over year, but the iPads, and some analysts have said the iPad sales have been slowing. They did beat Wall Street's estimates, so that's always a good thing. How did Andy Iannacco put it yesterday on Mac Break Weekly? It was funny. It's like if you polled sports analysts about what the finishing time would be in the Boston Marathon, and the guy won it, but came in 6 seconds below their analyst's estimate.
No, he said if they had estimated that he would come in third, they would punish him for coming in first.
Right. He didn't make failed analyst estimates. iPod sales, now pretty bad. 2.7 million iPods. I'm amazed they're selling any. And there was no iPod update. Year-over-year performance, and that's, I guess, what you really should count, is a iPhone growth of 16.8%, an iPad drop of 16.4%. And that's, I think, signs that maybe the tablet market has reached its.
What's the concomitant Android tablet sales?
I don't know.
But I wonder if they're losing business to Android.
I doubt it very much, but we could check into that. We will check into that. Now, this maybe in the call, I don't know. I'm trying to find this rumor of the stock split. Maybe they mentioned something in the call. Or maybe the chat room is just punking us.
No, there's a TechCrunch.
Nope. From Reuters, Apple expands buybacks by $30 billion. You mentioned that. And announces a 7-for-1 stock split.
And boosts its dividend 8%.
Wow.
Which is to say that the sharks got to them, I think.
A rarely seen 7-for-1 stock split. So their stock was, around 500, so.
No, it's, hold on.
Brings it down well below $100 a share.
524.75.
Yeah, the idea of a stock split doesn't really change the capitalization of the company in any way because you cut the stock price by the factor of the split. But what it does do is make the individual shares more affordable. And this thinking is that, well, if it's more affordable, if somebody wants to buy one share for their kid, they can.
And well, now you can buy an iPad and get a share.
Really? No. That's a good idea, though.
It is. You start to own the company.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great promotional device. Yeah, do you think it was activist stockholders that he gave into?
Well, yeah, and I think that the problem remains with, why am I getting in trouble for saying this? Oh, the letters I get. By the way, folks, it's nice that you send email. I got enough email. I can't deal with email. I can't deal with all the email. People spend long emails to me how wrong I am about something.
It's not that we want to ignore you, but we just can't.
Don't send me email about what I'm about to say. But has Apple lost its mojo? I mean, we haven't seen major development from them. We haven't seen major innovation from them. They've got to satisfy Wall Street. At some point, Wall Street's going to say, what have you done for me lately?
It's funny that you should say that because I don't buy tech stock. So this is purely an academic conversation. But I was going to ask Lisa this morning, have you ever shorted stock? Because I think it's time to short Apple. And maybe this is a response to that. I mean, raising the dividend certainly helps sell stock, and buying it back shows your confidence in your stock.
Mark
By the way,
had something really interesting to say in Twitter yesterday, which is, of course, where he says everything. And he said that the whole bubble conversation going on in tech. And he said activists come in when they see things that are undervalued.
Yeah, there's no bubble. There's no bubble in tech. I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I don't think there ever has been a bubble in tech.
So there's a belief that Apple is undervalued right now.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I think it's overvalued personally. But I agree with you.
I think I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah. Tim Cook did make his quarterly pronouncement that there are new products coming.
There always are, aren't there?
Well, he said, quote, and this is Nilay Patel quoting the Wire story, "We're eagerly looking forward to introducing more new products and services that only Apple could bring to market." Why only Apple? We don't know. Because only Apple can make an iPhone.
Watch first,
nothing.
and then TV?
No. More new products and services is interesting. I don't know what services they're talking about. No, I think what they're talking that if they announce new iPhones this year, he will have satisfied the new products, right?
But then, we make the screen bigger, we make the screen smaller. So an iPhone with a bigger screen is not innovation. It's and same problem with Android phones. How are you going to beat your own prior story here, and how are you going to come up with something that's new and innovative in phones?
Nevertheless, Apple had another record-breaking quarter in terms of profits and revenues. iPad sales slowed, but iPhone sales increased. And a 7-to-1 stock split and increased
and full disclosure, I have Apple stock.
But it's probably not enough to make you a wealthy man.
No.
You have Apple and Google stock, we should mention.
Apple and Google and Amazon. And I sold, other full disclosure is, I sold Microsoft.
I'm really tempted. I don't know even how you short a stock, but I feel like, well, now's the wrong time, obviously.
That kind of statement says a lot, though. If you don't know how to do it, maybe you shouldn't do it, Leo. Maybe. I don't know how
What is this shorting a stock thing? It always sounded interesting to me. Can I make a margin call? Yeah, you're right.
2-inch margin?
Maybe not a good idea. Maybe not a bad idea. Anyway, there is the latest from Apple. How about the latest from Facebook? First quarter results for Facebook also out. Oh, revenue $2.5 billion, up 72%.
Wow.
Quarter to quarter.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
I guess we're not shorting Facebook stock. Revenue from advertising up 82%. Wait a minute.
So what's their other revenue?
Wow.
What other revenue do they have?
Revenue was $2.5 billion. Well, mobile versus desktop sales.
But it's all advertising.
It's all advertising. Yeah. What is that other $250 million? Where does that come from? I don't know.
Daily active
gifts.
Users,
Facebook
802.
gifts. Monthly active users, 1.28 billion people. That's a neat number to say. Say anything over a billion is active users. Every month, 1.25 billion people use Facebook. Ah. Mobile daily active users, 609 million.
Wow.
Daily active users overall, 802 million. So mobile went up a lot, 43% year over year.
Does daily really mean daily? You mean every day of the month?
Every day.
Wow.
Every day, 609 people use Facebook on mobile. 802 million use Facebook on mobile.
And newspapers run 12-page views per user per month. And so uses per month, often 1 to 3, 1 to 4.
Yeah, but this is users. This is this could be 20 pages.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's amazing.
A newspaper which we supposedly depend upon for a healthy society.
Mobile advertising revenue, and this is the metric I think everybody looks at with Facebook. This was the thing they had to figure out. They had to solve. How do we get mobile advertising to work? They obviously licked it on the desktop, but how do we get mobile advertising to work? Mobile advertising revenue, 59% of the total advertising revenue.
That is incredible.
That's double what it was last year. Double.
Jesus. And they're in the catbird seat there because Google is facing as we mentioned last show, lower yield on advertising because it goes to mobile. So their picture can only look kind of worse in some ways because Facebook hadn't figured it out. Their picture's only going to look better. And I don't know what the comparative yield is or any of that, but Facebook is only going up.
Confirmation that the CFO is stepping down. We knew that. He's been there 5 years. He'll be succeeded by David Warner. David Ebersman is being succeeded by David Wenner, who is currently Vice President of Corporate Finance.
This is like that moment on the Oscars when the accountants come out. Most people just couldn't possibly care who the CFO is.
Yeah, Abercrombie and Furchberg. So very interesting. They're having a conference call right now, or will in 10 minutes, I guess, to talk about it. But very good. Boy, you couldn't get much better than that in terms of Facebook results. So the two big quarterly results we expected today, both Apple and Facebook doing
what was the street
extraordinarily
expecting for Facebook? Does it say there, Leo?
I don't see that.
Sorry, I keep asking these stupid questions. What do you
want? You do research? What do you want? What do you want? How do you want? Come on. So both Facebook and Apple, Facebook beat the estimates. 1 billion users on small screens. Its quarterly earnings show it beat expectations, earning $2.5 billion, 34 cents per share. Wall Street expected $2.36 billion and 24 cents per share. So a significant beat on Wall Street. I know we're supposed to report this, but I don't understand why it matters what some guys guessed compared to what the actual result was.
Only because what the stock will do next is whether that was built in.
I understand. Oh, so that's right. So the stock should go up. That's right. Yep. The daily active users is mind-boggling. And there's a breakdown here by geography. And so if you look at this graph, let me make it as big as I can here. If you look at this graph, and for those of you listening, I'll kind of describe it. U.S. growth is fairly flat. U.S. and Canada is the dark stuff at the bottom. From 2012 to 2014, 2 years, it went from 129 million daily active users to 150 million active users. The big growth is in Asia, massive growth, 119 million to 216 million. Somewhat less in Europe, but still growth there. And the rest of the world, big growth there. So that's what you want to see if you're Facebook. You want to see big international growth.
Buying drones.
Yeah, big international growth.
Right. This does explain the drones.
Boy, does it ever. I mean, I wasn't, because if he gets that kind of level of daily usage, finding a way to give away the access, fine. Come on, folks.
We'll be listening with interest to see, a little more detailed things like young people versus older people, things like that. Mm-hmm. You'd be hard-pressed to find any bad news in this.
So the proportion of U.S. usage now is what on that chart, Leo? If you do it proportionally?
It's, looks like a...
150 of 802?
Yeah, it's what is that? It's not. It's
This ain't no American company no more.
It's like 25. That's not even 25%.
Notice how good we are at math.
It's between 20 and 25. No, it's less than 20. I'm sorry. It's less than 20%. Wow.
I always make my students.
Wow. Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Let me get my wrap by. Less than 20% of Facebook users are in the U.S. and Canada.
And so all the
Fewer
talk
than.
we hear here, do you ever talk about Facebook anymore? No, I don't. Facebook
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Meaningless. This is an international, global company, global usage, which has always been part of Mark's vision.
Let me say this again. Fewer than 20% of Facebook users are in the U.S. and Canada. 80%, something like 82% of all Facebook users are outside U.S. and Canada.
Wow.
What?
Oh, that explains WhatsApp as well.
Yeah.
International user base. Mm-hmm.
My friend Rafat Ali, now founder of Skift, says that every single member of his family is on WhatsApp. Everybody in India.
Yeah, that's because of text messaging being.
In fact, I saw some great
expensive.
pictures from India of women wearing saris with the WhatsApp logo on it. Those wonderful beaded things that they do in India that are so wonderful with the WhatsApp logo on it. It's part of the culture.
Wow. Wow, more than 80% of Facebook usage is outside the U.S. You know, Facebook is quite amazing because every single market it's entered, it's just suddenly, taken over. So it started at Harvard and dominated. Within a few days, it dominated the Harvard student body, right? I mean, it was like instant. Then they go to all the Ivies. They open up to all the universities in the Ivy League, and it's immediately. And then they open to all universities, and it almost immediately dominant. Then they open the United States, almost, there's just astounding growth. And the same thing seems to have happened globally. What we need to do is discover some more planets.
Well, no, what he's doing is discovering new apps. And I think it's WhatsApp is very telling. B, he was interviewed at the New York Times by Farhad Manjoo.
I thought that was a great interview.
It's a very good interview. And the most telling thing to me was that Mark is breaking up the app. And as I thought about that, and I'm thinking about that in my context for journalism, we think everybody's going to come to our big thing that gives you everything you need, right? But think about how you use Google. I go to things that are appropriate to the use. I do Gmail over here. I do Maps over there. I do this over there. I do that, right? So what's happening with Facebook? I do friend stuff here. I do photos there. I do chatting here. And so you start to break up, not because these become wholly new worlds, but because they're appropriate to the context of my life and what I'm doing at this minute.
He says we're unbundling the big blue app.
Exactly. That's really important. So what is he really in Mark's genius, huge vision? He's people connecting. That's what he's always wanted to be, and that's what he's doing. Every way he can get people connect, that's where he is. Google is about people getting information. And they're trying to do that every damn way they can. And if they each hold true to that vision, they each have good, incredible good businesses.
What we want to do is build a pipeline. This is Mark Zuckerberg talking to Farhad Manjoo in the Times. What we want to do is build a pipeline of experiences for people to have. It would be a mistake to compare any of them in different life cycles to other ones. They're in different levels. They're all different. And, it's really interesting because there does seem to be, there are two different trends you see. One is to bundle everything into all-in-one, right? Like, let's make the mobile phone do everything.
Right.
The mobile phone was condensing an iPod, a phone, a computer into one item. And it seemed the conventional wisdom was, yeah, people just want one item. But then you look at software, you look at Unix, where the philosophy is do
one thing well.
But, and very important, you can chain them together to do one bigger thing.
Yes. And you can have a relationship across them, right? Which is also key to the strategy. So Mark doesn't even care about the Facebook brand necessarily. Some of these things will not be called Facebook. So make it truly a platform of development. The other thing you can see about Mark is when he opened up Facebook to outside developers, and that worked and then didn't work, right? But what is Paper? Paper is saying there's a basis here of content and relationships, and you can build an incredible new app on top of that, the same thing that Facebook is built on, and get an entirely different experience from it. And so what ties it together? It's these companies' knowledge about you as a person, if we can get past all the creepy stuff, and its services.
So once again, if you understand this, Gina, this idea of do one thing well, but then create a pipeline, And Zuck is obviously he's a programmer. He knows Unix well. He knows Linux well. So when he says now let's hear that quote again. What we want to do is build a pipeline of experiences for people to have.
Yeah.
So what is Facebook? It's a bunch of different apps, but we're the pipeline. We're the
key though to the Unix pipe is that it can pass data, right? And so now if you look at Google, they're a little farther along than Facebook, right? And Google had all these sort of different apps, right? And then they introduced the unified privacy policy that said that these apps can share this data across them. And we're getting better experiences out of that, like Google Now. Facebook isn't there yet, right? Like Instagram and WhatsApp, those data sources, or at least with WhatsApp, they're saying that data is not shared back to Facebook, right? That they're not mixing that data. That doesn't seem like very, very long-lived.
That's true, but does he need to, Gina? In the case of Google lives and dies on relevance, and relevance means knowing you and knowing what you want and who you are and all this stuff about you, right? Facebook, if it's just connecting you appropriately to the app, does what you do on WhatsApp really have to be that tied to Facebook?
Listen to what he says, because then Manju asks him about anonymity, about Snapchat and so forth. He says, do you expect Facebook will do things with anonymity? Because, of course, anonymity is antithetical to this idea of let's share all the data across the pipeline. Mark says, I don't know. I do think more private communication is a bigger space than people realizing, but anonymity is different. I'm not going to say it can't work because I think that's too extreme, but I tend to think some of these interactions are better rooted in some sense of building relationships.
Which is what he really believes.
He wants
identity and relationships.
It happens to coincide with his business model, but yeah. There are different forms of identity you can use to form a relationship. You can use your real identity. You can use phone numbers for something like WhatsApp, pseudonyms for something like Instagram. But in any of those, you're not just sharing consumer content. You're building relationships with people and building an understanding of people. That's core to how we think about the world. So, and this is the important point, anonymity is not the first thing we'll go do or ever do. He did do Poke, which was like Snapchat, right?
Was it? Poke was anonymous? You could anonymously... No, right?
No, because it was your Facebook identity. But you could get... But did the things disappear after time? I don't know. I never used it. Nobody did.
And it no longer exists.
It no longer exists, so who cares? Farhad said, you're 30. Do you feel like you're in touch with the younger audience?
Okay, so here's another question for you. If your Twitter is bored and you look at those results, what are you thinking? Where does Twitter fit into that? We know what Google is. We know what Facebook is.
I think there's a really significant issue for Twitter, which is that, what was it, 40% of people on Twitter never post, ever. Now, on the other hand, last night I'm watching The Voice. And you know how those shows used to do text us with a hashtag, or rather with your vote.
Right.
Now they just use Twitter. Hashtag save Leah or whatever her name is. And boy, that's brilliant. It's good for Twitter. It's good for the show.
Well, Leo, let me put it another way. You know, these newspapers, I don't know, only 1% of the people who touch them ever write anything. You know, Twitter is a publishing platform.
Is Twitter a newspaper? So I guess that's what it is, right?
Say Blogger. How many people read Blogger versus how many people write on Blogger? That doesn't bother me. And I think Twitter hasn't necessarily done a good job of answering that back. Publishing platforms are historically always have been more read than written.
But I thought that the idea of Twitter was it was a more egalitarian.
To an extent, much more, much more than any publishing platform ever.
Yeah, I mean, if 60% of users who read a newspaper were putting stuff in the newspaper, that would be a very different kind of newspaper. So you're right, 60% of Twitter users post. Although the 40%, we don't know how many of those are real. That's another issue with Twitter. Is a huge number of it seems to be fake accounts.
But they do I think they do a good job. You know, the funny thing is, when I see one, I report it all the time, constantly. Partly because it gets it out of my feed, but also because it's so easy to do. And I don't see that many. I mean, that's me, but I think they kill them pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do an okay job. I don't know. I have my doubts about how quickly they have the capacity to actually kill accounts that are displaying bad behavior, just fake accounts.
On that? Can you do analysis on that, Gina?
On how many users you blocked, or?
Well, no. Is there a way kind of to see, based on blockings, how many fake accounts seem to pop up in people's feeds?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to collect your data kind of over time. Like, I've got a pretty big database of Twitter users at this point because I've been running ThinkUp for many years. And so at some point, you check the user and it's suspended. It doesn't exist anymore. So you can do that kind of analysis kind of after the fact, but you have to be collecting those users kind of over time and then checking back in on them. And there isn't an easy way right now to say what happened to the users that I blocked. But I was just having this conversation on Twitter recently with a couple of women who are being harassed and who are blocking people, and then asking their friends to block these people, users who are harassing them. And by the time I had seen the conversation, which was the next day, they actually were suspended, which made me really happy.
Yay!
But they were complaining like, there's no way, there's no way for just a regular user who doesn't have a ton of followers, who isn't verified, who's getting harassed, to really get, sort of get Twitter's attention, because there's just, so many of these that just,
it's funny that you should mention this. I was thinking about this the other day because I have adopted a new policy that if anybody says something, I don't mind criticism on Twitter, but I was getting, such ugly stuff on Twitter. I just decided if somebody says something really ugly about me, I just block them. So I don't see it. I mean, others still can, but I don't see it.
Right.
And what I realized is if I block and it's only about 15 people, Twitter is a wonderful place all of a sudden. It is a small percentage of the total that can occupy so much of the content by just tweeting a lot. And I have a much better experience on Twitter now. So I encourage people, block. Now, getting somebody blocked globally on Twitter, that's another matter.
They take those signals seriously, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I don't even care about that. I believe in the person's right to say bad things about Leo. I just want to read it.
Yeah.
Is it if a tree falls in a forest and no one if a troll falls in a forest and no one hears him, does it matter? So those women who have been harassed on Twitter, it's not sufficient for them to just block it so they don't see it. Or is it?
Well, it's a couple of things. I mean, sometimes it's like they're getting doxxed or they're getting, harassing pictures, and it's not just enough to say I don't want to see this anymore. It's straight up like this person should be banned. I don't want anybody to have to see this, as anyone else to see this, right? So there's that, and a lot of it is just this feeling of that there should be consequences for harassing speech, and look, the lines around that are really blurry, and what constitutes criticism versus harassment versus what's considered a legal threat. But I think there's definitely some frustration. I think that sometimes it feels like Twitter errs on the side of protecting harassers over the people getting harassed. Like when they changed their block policy, and they actually wound up reverting the change. They changed it so that you wouldn't see the person harassing you, but the person harassing you could still see your stuff. And it was kind of like protecting the harasser versus the victim, and then Twitter reverted it. So it's tricky. It's tricky. It's hard. It's not an easy problem to solve.
Yeah, it is.
And it's really easy to just make another Twitter account and harass the person from another name,
Right.
See our story last week about the trolls really are a little sick.
Sadists. They're sadists. But it's so easy to block people, at least in Tweetbot. It's given me great satisfaction. And now I don't ever see any.
Yeah, I'm very liberal. I'm very liberal with my blocking as well.
I've always said that. Be liberal with your following, and even more liberal with your unfollowing and or blocking. And you can create a Twitter feed that's marvelous.
And I got to tell you, I follow a lot of people. I follow over 1,000 people, but I have this private list of people whose tweets, none of, I just don't want to miss. And even just kind of changing that up. Folks who I really like in real life, and
I use lists.
Who are just like really just loud or noisy or just whatever annoying on Twitter, I just move them out of my list. And they kind of fly by.
Exactly what I do.
And that makes a much, much better experience.
I need to do that because I follow more than 2,000 people on Twitter. So I need to.
It's unusable at that level. Yeah, I have a public media wonks list And that's my main list. I have some other lists too, but that's my main one. And those are the ones I don't want to miss. Yeah.
I have lists. I never think of clicking on them.
There's something to Dunbar's number. Like I really think that there is a limit to how many people you can really pay attention to and keep a narrative in your head about.
On the other hand, I just love the kind of the serendipity of just having a 2,000 person Twitter stream where it's just, there's all sorts of stuff in it.
Flying by.
And and I love that. I mean, it's just, I never know what I'm going to see. It's just fun. So, but that's why you do it in a list instead of unfollowing. I like that. I'm going to create some lists.
Right, because there's the social convention. If you unfollow someone, it's, folks get upset. And some people I want to follow, and I just want to follow casually. I just want to dip in and out when I want. I don't need to hear every single tweet about their cat or whatever.
Does somebody know if you've blocked them? Do they get a message you were just blocked? No, probably not.
I don't believe so.
Maybe that would help.
Maybe
not.
You can look it up in the API.
You can't look it up.
Get notified that you've been blocked. Yeah. I feel like that would, in the case of a troll or a griefer or something, that would really aggravate the person and just sort of motivate them to make another account.
Let them just shout into the darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I believe if you block someone, then they can't follow you. So then they do know, right? Because they'll just stop seeing your stuff. Right. So then actually they do know.
By the way, Jeff, to kind of sort of answer your question, not about iPads, but about Macintoshes, I'm monitoring the Tim Cook's phone call right now. Apple is gaining PC market share, and making OS X Mavericks free led to the largest ever % of installed Mac users using the latest version. So
because PCs are dying.
Yeah.
So
they're going up, even though everybody else. Well, everybody's going down.
Here's another question about the mobile numbers for Twitter.
Two-thirds of iPad users are new to iPad. 2/3 of iPad buyers are new to iPad. Half of iPhone buyers are new to iPhone. Those are very good numbers. That's what you want.
That is good.
Yep.
We talk mobile too often. Mobile includes tablets. I think that's a misnomer because you're sitting on your couch. So are the mobile numbers for Facebook, does that indicate that some proportion of people just aren't even using laptops now and they're using tablets?
Yeah.
Or at the same time, you're saying that tablet sales are kind of going down, and I don't know how to read that.
Oh, it's just me. I mean, you have a desktop. I have a desktop. You have a desktop, Gina. But when we go on Facebook, 2/3 of the time, we do it on our phone or our tablet.
Yeah, or a tablet.
But I would guess phone.
I uninstalled the app. I just use the web view now on Android because I can't deal with all those permissions.
You're right.
Not okay.
It asks for everything. It asks for it wants the world.
Web browser works.
Yeah. That's a really interesting point. The new app is getting more and more stripped down. They're taking messages out. It's getting simpler and simpler and simpler.
Breaking up the big blue app.
Yeah. They really are doing that. And so in a way it's kind of nice because it's very clean and simple.
So the essence of Facebook, if he has all these other apps out there, the essence of Facebook itself, Big Mama Facebook, is what? Managing friend.
That's a good question.
Content, but communicating you're going to do elsewhere.
I would say the news feed has been up to now the heart of it, right? But
yes.
Yeah.
I think that becomes the heart of it. It's Facebook is content, and communication is other things. Does that make sense?
But what I should also point out is that Facebook dominates in social login. The Facebook Connect versus say Google Plus. It's Facebook, and that is more a measure of how I think that's kind of the future of Facebook, right? It's the connector, it's the pipeline.
That's also just because Facebook Connect, I think, was first to market with that.
And it's so damn convenient.
Yeah.
Well, when given the choice, I always use Google instead of Facebook.
Yeah, well, if given the choice, but it's rare that I see the choice.
That's interesting.
I've got to get a new light.
although I got to say, on Android, the Google login is obviously way easier, right? Because
right, it just does it.
It just does it, right? You don't have to do anything else.
Well, but doesn't Facebook do the same thing? Well, you don't know because you don't have the app.
Yeah, you have to be logged in. I mean, it pops open a web view, and I have to log in or whatever.
Yeah, but see, that's not easy. But if you have the app installed, you can use both about equally easily, I think. It will it does give you permissions, and you do okay. I don't remember what Google does. I guess it does the same thing. It says allow. You have to allow it.
Yeah, it'll ask you what permissions, and you say allow. Right. I've got 2 Google accounts on my phone, so it'll ask me which one. I tap which one, and then I'll say this game. Usually it's games these days, but we want to post to your circles. You just private to you. Can this app know your email address? And you're just like, okay, and you're good to go.
Let's take a break. We're going to come back with more. Gina Trapani, Jeff Jarvis. We're talking anything we want to talk about. I don't even know how I'd quantify this now. Quarterly results, Facebook, Google, Twitter. Did we really answer that question? What's the central experience of Facebook?
Oh, newsfeed, right? I don't know.
Newsfeed.
Newsfeed for now, but not for the long term, I don't think.
Facebook has just been like about that social sixth sense, It's like sort of knowing what's going on with my acquaintances in a way that I wouldn't have beforehand.
Our show today brought to you by 99designs.com. Have you seen our new T-shirt? Go to Teespring, TEESPRING.com/twit. This was a design we got from 99 Designs. If you're in a business, you need great design. More than 250,000, actually almost 300,000 now, graphic designers are waiting to talk to you at 99 Designs. We put up a contest. We said we wanted to do a hoodie. We got a bunch of really great designs. We ended up buying 5. And this was one of them. We did the hoodie last month. We're doing the T-shirt this month. I love this design. In fact, it looks great on a black tee or a white tee, which I think is one of the reasons we chose it. It's tank. There's a spaghetti strap for the ladies. There's a women's tee for the ladies as well as the men's. What's it called? A gildan. I don't know what a gildan. That's a tank top, I guess. $20 if you want to get our Twit T-shirt. And thanks so much to 99 Designs because, we have designers in-house, but it's so great to get the different looks, the different ideas. If you haven't updated your website's design lately, does the layout serve the needs of your business? Can visitors find what they need? Remember, simplicity and navigability are your friends, and that's what designers are so good at. You try to view your site through the eyes of a new visitor. Are there barriers to use? Do the screens flow logically from one to the next? Do all the tabs and buckets and burgers and sliders and buttons work as they should? Can customers get a hold of you? Can they buy if you're selling? If you find something annoying, a first-time visitor will for sure too. But site design is so important, and look at that. That's nice. I like that. Q feeder. That's a 99 Designs design. At 99 Designs, you can get anything designed in just a week for a startup-friendly price. So you can start promoting your business online right away. You can have a great website design, a powerful logo. 99 Designs really can help you build your client base, even if you're brand new before you open your doors. Visit 99designs.com right now. Start a design contest. In fact, if you go to 99designs.com/twig, you'll get free a $99 power pack of services. That'll give you more designer time and attention. They'll bold, highlight, and feature your design project in their marketplace. You get twice as many designs. Here's how it works. You say what you need. You set a price as low as $199. And then designers give you some ideas. You can work with them, refine it, pick the designer you want. The designer gets paid, and you get a great design. 99designs.com/twig. Give it a try today. We couldn't be more happy with the designs we get from 99 Designs. I love this T-shirt. I shall send you both one. Speaking of design,
I like that design a lot.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's great.
Apparently, Google, according to an interview with John Constine at TechCrunch, Google's going to focus on design at the Google I.O. this year. What is with the big sigh? What is with the big sigh?
Because if you have to announce that you're focusing on design, I love you, Google. You know that I do. But if you have to announce you're going to focus on design,
so you're not saying anything critical, but
I hate to be critical. Marco actually did a post on this, and whatever. Marco is Marco. He's very pro Apple and not so generous with the Google. But I gotta say, I think he was kind of spot on here, and I don't know. I might be risking my chance at a Google I/O pass, but it feels. I don't think that you can have a thrust on design one particular cycle of development, right? Like that just has to be embedded in your whole entire process and in the values of the company. And I don't think that Google's there. I think that they're getting there, but I don't know. When I saw that they're gonna focus on design at I/O, part of me thought, oh, that's great, and another part of me thought like design has to be part of every single I/O, every single product, every bit of development.
And I think design is one of the most overused words right now. I hear it constantly. And what it means often to people is, let's get out the Post-it notes. Design thinking.
I hate design thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And design thinking and design, I think, are utterly separate things. One is use and aesthetics, and the other one is listening to people. And listening to people is a good thing, and it's an input. But everybody's gone nuts saying it's all about design. And I think it's being overused now and it comes to mean less. However, somebody who believes in this told me a few weeks ago that IBM is hiring designers like crazy. I think I said this on the show, because they think that the technology is going to get easier and easier, but experience is what matters.
You can blame IDEO and David Kelly for all of this.
The Stanford D School.
Yeah. So IDEO kind of, it's hard for me not to be cynical about it. Having run out of people for whom it could design actual things for, it decided that design applies to everything we do in life, and we know how to do it. It's just expanding the market.
Yeah, you're right.
What does that mean?
I have mixed feelings about this. Well, it does look basically IDEO, and I think it's primarily Kelly, but their thinking was the principles of design should be applied to everything, including how an organization is run, how meetings are run,
how you experience buying a hamburger,
everything,
everything.
And the example they use, it's a good example, is if you're designing a hospital, you better lie on a gurney and look at the ceiling, because that's what your patients are seeing. And that's a good point. I don't think it's a bad point. But then I've been in these meetings or these sessions where they design thinking, and it's, I don't know, it feels a little cultish, frankly. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, isn't design just a code word for thoughtfulness and empathy?
Yeah. And they've got a methodology. Basically, they have a methodology that they want you to use. And it's good. It's brainstorming and free form, and how to then incorporate that into actual planning. And I guess it's okay. I'm allergic to some of that stuff. I'm like a New Yorker in that regard. It's too California.
When it becomes jargony. I mean, I think there's something to it. I mean, I'm doing a lot of work now in engagement and journalism and listening to the community before you think you know what they need. That's the essence of design thinking. It's cultural anthropology. It's watching people. It's discerning their needs. I agree with all that. But you're right. I think really putting it in this marketing shell turns it into a cliche-ridden hype.
Yeah. So Marco writes, the idea that Google needs to attract designers to win against iOS is misguided at best. A software platform's UI and design ethos can't be changed on a whim by conference sessions and a marketing push. It's deeply ingrained, built over the platform's entire lifespan and very slow to change. See, I would disagree with Marco in that respect, because the first Android phones were admittedly a nightmare. You know, fonts were different sizes, icons were weird, and everything felt very cobbled together. But over time, Android has become much more polished, and that's because Google has pushed it there. I think Holo and everything that they've done, they have set a tone and a standard, just as Apple did, by the way, Marco. The reason Apple's got it is because Apple imposed it from day one with the Macintosh.
I would argue, and I'll get email about this too, but don't bother people, is the single best design in the history of the net was the original Google homepage.
There you go.
Here's a box. The world's behind it.
It was a design that was undesigned. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Marco says the thing that has become a cliched cant. Android's best apps usually aren't as good as iOS's best apps because, and this is the part I disagree with, people who value and demand the best apps overwhelmingly choose iOS. Well, that's really old-fashioned thinking. That's not true anymore.
We're better than you because we have iPhones. That's just so Marco.
Yeah, no, he's wrong about that. But I do think that he's right about design being part of the culture from the beginning. And Android's approach was so different than Apple, right? It was like, put it out, even if it's dirty and broken, and we'll fix it later. Whereas Apple would be like, if it's not ready, it doesn't go out, right? We're not going to put out copy and paste until we have it perfectly right. And you're just going to live without copy and paste,
but the difference there is we're going to define what right is versus Google says the public's going to define what right is.
That's, I think, the fundamental difference. Apple's willing to be totally authoritarian.
Yes, absolutely.
And Google is not. Google says, well, we want choice.
Exactly right.
And we're not willing to lay down the law. We will encourage people to use Holo, but we won't make them use Holo.
And we'll have a methodology of A/B testing, and we listen to signals.
We're data driven.
That's what it is. We're data driven.
Apple says we're Steve driven. We're
right. There lies its strength and now its weakness. There lies the reason for a 7-1 stock split and a buyback and a dividend up.
Although, as we found out in the Samsung Apple trial and the revelations there, Apple did in fact use focus groups. They encouraged the feeling that it was all Steve, but they in fact did some research. They did some A/B testing.
I mean, these guys do ethnographic research.
Yeah,
that's part of the process, is to watch people in their environments and what they do and try to solve problems, and that's a form of listening.
I for one choose the free form, sometimes messy Google way over the authoritarian way. Yes, the trains run on time, but it's not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
I think both approaches have their strengths and weaknesses.
Yes, and you have your choice. You get to choose,
I mean, I know a lot of designers who would say, designing by data is insane. I forget the name of that designer who was at Google and said, they A/B tested every shade of blue, right? Whereas as a designer, I couldn't say this is the right time. So I see both sides there, and there are strengths and weaknesses to both.
Right.
But yeah, no, design was definitely not at the forefront of Google's mind when they were pushing out Android. Part of that is because they were doing it after the iPhone, and that's not part of their culture.
They were playing quick catch up too.
Yeah, they were playing catch up. Yeah, there were a lot of different factors.
And by the way, go to play.google.com, and what is on the front page of the Google store? The Nest, one of the most beautiful designed things ever. And Google bought the company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Google doesn't hate design. Google loves elegant, beautiful stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
One of the few products that's in both the Play Store and the Apple Store as well.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that interesting? I wonder how long that'll last.
Yeah.
Wow.
Google, of course, owns Nest. I bought 3 Nests at the Apple Store not so long ago.
Which are now bookends?
Yeah, I don't use them anymore. And when we moved, I didn't bother installing them because I didn't find it made that much of a difference. And I really hated anything turning on the heat without my say-so. I just don't like the idea of a smart thermostat. Nuts. And by the way, I noticed Google's not selling the smart smoke detector.
No.
I think VentureBeat got this wrong, but maybe not. They say Google is researching ways to put encryption in Gmail. This article by Harrison Weber says that in response to Edward Snowden's mass surveillance revelations, Google's working on a way to put PGP into email. And this is from a source at Google. They say VentureBeat's source at Google acknowledged that end-to-end encryption is the best defense for message protection. We know that, though it comes at considerable cost and functionality. I don't think it comes at a cost and functionality to the end user. It's a pain in the ass to implement. The cost and functionality is to Google, which can't see into your email and put ads in it. So I wonder, I can't imagine. This would be a real gut check for Google. Google believes in, right? This is part of Google's ethos. It believes in privacy. It believes encryption should be easy to do. On the other hand, there is absolutely no ways to monetize encrypted email without charging.
Have you ever seen figures on how much Google makes from ads on Gmail?
No.
I think it's got to be minimal.
Interesting.
As we talked about the other day, I usually don't see ads, any on Gmail.
Right.
And when I do, I'm engrossed in an activity Why do I use Gmail? Why does Google still want me to use Gmail even if it doesn't have direct revenue from it? Well, because it's part of this service.
Google
pipe.
now. Yeah.
Right. It feeds all kinds of things. I'm addicted to Google.
Yep.
Why did I buy all my La Vida Google devices? Because of Gmail. Because it was integrated. So Gmail has huge value to them. I think they could stop advertising on Gmail tomorrow, and I would bet you, we'll never know, but I would bet you the impact on bottom line is de minimis. So what's more important to Google? Trust. Trust, trust, trust. I'm going to speak to the privacy folks at Google in a few weeks, and I'm doing that as a favor. So, I don't know. Maybe you might want to let Gina into I.O., but we'll get it back. And
I love you.
And I'd love some help from the listeners of Twig. And for this, you can send me an email, or you can talk to me elsewhere. Is what would the perfect, ultimate Google as the absolute leader in privacy look like? And I think that I want to give them a wish list about.
This is interesting because I'm looking. I don't see any ads at all.
Gina, do you see any ads in your Gmail?
I do. So I turned off the little bar across the top. I have ads on if I open up a message, I have a related Google Plus page.
There it is on the right. Okay.
And then on the right at the bottom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they're very, very minor. It doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. Here's there's a .NET development, and this is not bad at all. This is an ad. This is a email from Jason.
I don't know if anyone can figure out how to.
Sometimes they don't have anything.
Get these ads to show up with encryption. It's Google.
Or just
they still know about you.
So here's a couple of options. Right. You could have ads that just aren't targeted.
Well, no, they're targeted to you.
They're just not from your email. Why not? This is a hot button for a lot of people. Get off the Scroogled bandwagon. Or charge $5 a year or whatever. How much? I mean, can't be.
Well, this is what I was thinking. Google Apps users who are paying businesses and organizations. This is something that they want, right? So that you pay for this premium service, you turn on privacy, and your communications are encrypted. Now, your communications are all stored on Google servers, and if the NSA or whoever is getting what's ever coming in and out of Google servers, then the encryption doesn't do anything for you, right?
Well, hold on. Well, no. If it's end-to-end encrypted, then it does.
Right, if it's end-to-end, right, because...
So I use a service called Hushmail right now. Hushmail was created by Phil Zimmerman, who created PGP. It's PGP encryption. If you use it to go outbound, outside of Hushmail, it's not encrypted anymore. But if you're sending it to somebody within Hushmail, it's fully PGP encrypted.
Right.
And that's what you would do. But if Google did it, half the people I write to are on Gmail already. That would all be encrypted.
Well, let me okay, Gina, Leo, explain this to me because I get confused about encryption. It shouldn't be, but I still do. So if it's end to end, anywhere outside of Google, then I still have to publish a public key, and
you would need to encrypt mail to me. If I'm on Yahoo Mail, you would need to know my public key and encrypt it to that public key.
Okay, so that's
now Google could make that easy by saying, oh, I see this is not a Gmail address. Would you like to encrypt? And then is this the person to whom you're sending the mail? Does this match your knowledge of Jeff?
Okay, but here's another question. Here's a clever way Google could do it. We'll make it really, really easy to encrypt like Hushmail inside Gmail. And because I don't know anybody who uses Hushmail except you, Leo. Right. But I know lots of people who use Gmail. And if you are concerned about this being private communication, hey, just find your user on Gmail and send it to them in Gmail, and you don't have to worry about publishing keys.
You don't have to think about it.
Right?
That's right.
So that becomes a real premium service. I don't say they charge for it, but I'm saying it becomes a real benefit, another benefit to using Gmail.
Now, here's a question.
It becomes the most secure place to email.
Would Google, if it did that, Google would have to hold your private key, right? Where would the private key live, Gina? Let me think about this.
that's the question, right? It has to be.
It could live on your hard drive.
On your client, on your hard drive.
It could live in your client, and then, I guess it could. It could live in your client.
That's not the hard part. The hard part is I want to send private email to Gina. I don't know her public key. I have to go looking for her public key. Instead, in Gmail, it says, Gina accepts encrypted mail. Would you like to send something to her encrypted? Yeah, check here. Yes, I would. That's the hard part, made easier, right?
Yes. Yes, it knows her key. It knows her public key, so it'd do it automatically.
And what Google could do in addition to that, just to play along here, is that it could make it a standard to make it really easy for anyone in Google Plus. Get this. Click one box and you get a public key. And Gmail will use it automatically.
It'll put it in your Google profile.
It'll put in your Google profile. It'll put your public key there. It'll put your private key in your Gmail, and you're rolling.
So actually, I think that's the only way to do it. You know, Hushmail keeps the private key, which means that they have in the past turned over unencrypted emails to the federal government on subpoenas. That's not the way to do it, obviously.
No.
And by the way, Ladar Levison, who created LavaBit, the Gmail or the encrypted mail that reportedly Edward Snowden wanted to use or did use with Glenn Greenwald, he shut down LavaBit because the government wanted the keys, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. He's now in a lot of trouble because of it. But he and Phil Zimmerman are creating something they call dark mail that will presumably do it correctly. The key is that to make it trust no one, in Steve Gibson's famous phrase, TNO, the only person who could have access to that private key would be you, so that no other third party could turn over your unencrypted email. And that's what we all want. We all understand that now. So all Google would do is maintain a directory of private keys, automatically use that, of public keys, automatically use those public keys on your request to encrypt, but it would not be able to decrypt. Your client would have to do that in the window or whatever.
That's the only thing that gives you security and safety, and it's the only thing that prevents the NSA from getting your stuff. Unless they can crack PGP and we don't know it, right? But yeah. You know, in thinking about this talk at Google, the other thing that occurred to me as I was walking the street the other day is that I think we're thinking about this personal data the wrong way. We keep on talking about vaults, protect it, right? I think instead that what you really want to do is see that there's an economy here and a benefit of sharing your data, but you want more control over that. When do you share something? So really a platform for being able to publish and share things and making that possible and getting me value in return is where I think this goes. So this idea that you can encrypt something so easily in Gmail and keep it private from everybody, including Google and the NSA, that's a powerful statement, if that's what they're going to do. And if you weren't thinking this way, you think it's a good idea, well, invite Gina and me to IO.
We'll explain it to you.
This would prevent them from doing all the cool Google Now features, though, where it's like, oh, you have a flight coming up and you've just arrived at the airport, and oh, your package is shipped.
So that's why I don't think.
But I'm not going to. Well,
they encrypt automatically. They encrypt on request.
Yeah, it has to be because Gina also United Airlines is not going to encrypt.
Right, that's incoming.
Pass to me.
Yeah.
So that email's still there.
Yeah, that doesn't change anything.
That doesn't change anything.
When you do talk to them, tell them that if they really want to get this right, nobody ever says the phrase public key. Okay.
Amen.
No regular person should have to ever say the phrase public key.
But you have to treat it like the secret mailbox.
Gina, if you were only going to Google I/O, you could explain that to them yourself. Too bad you won't be there.
Right, it's instead of priority inbox, it's private mailbox, it's secret mailbox, it's it's like, oh hey, you're gonna send a postcard or you're gonna send it this certified mail, some sort of analogy that makes it easy to grok, and no public-private key. I mean, LastPass does this, right? I mean, I installed a LastPass extension on all my different browsers. When Heartbleed happened, LastPass said, hey, you know what? Even if our servers were vulnerable, we don't have your data. We can't decrypt your data. Like your data, I mean, they have my data, right? But it's encrypted. So even if a hacker had been using Heartbleed, they wouldn't have been able to decrypt anything that they had. This is what's going on, right? All my stuff is getting decrypted when I activate the extension on my client, and this is basically how PGP works as well. But I don't deal with keys with that. I just install it and log in.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to mention note here. There's not just that I go or Gina goes. We've collaborated here together. We're a team. You don't want to split us up. That's the key to this.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
it's hopeless. Forget it, guys.
I know. We don't. Nobody pressures Google.
No,
we don't need to.
I just want to say we were thinking of trying to game Google by just signing up 100 people and But I thought that probably was a foolish idea as well. I think gaming Google is probably the last thing anybody ever wants.
Well, yeah, right now, Matt Cuts' ears are perking up.
Well, hey, in fact, next time we get Matt Cutts on, I want to just thank him because I guess Google's cracking down on bogus inbound links or whatever. Because I've been getting, did I mention this before? Tons of email from people saying, hey, we spammed your forums some time ago. Can you remove that spam? Because Google's cracking down on us.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It gives me such pleasure to send them back. You know what? No.
That is the sound of my feet dragging.
One guy just sent me, we'll pay for whatever it takes to get rid of these spammy links.
Wow.
Now, probably what happened in some of these cases, it's that they hired a kind of rogue SEO group that did these spammy links, and they didn't know it. Maybe. I'm going to give them a little benefit of the doubt on this. On the other hand, maybe not. And the ones I really don't like are the ones who threaten me because we would hate to have to go back to Google and disavow the links because that would adversely affect your own Google ranking.
What?
Threatening.
Jerks.
Yeah.
Jerks.
That kind of was one of the words that came to mind.
Wow.
Can you believe we would hate to have to go back to Google and tell them you wasn't cooperating with us.
It's a nice horse you have there.
Is it cannoli? It is a gun. Which one do you want?
Can you believe that?
Wow.
So evil. Yeah, I'm getting them almost every day now because I guess we have a forum that we set up, the Twittown Commons, and it's not widely used. And of course, as soon as you have any place like that, spammers just glom onto it because they're hoping because it's at twit.tv, so they want to get our Google juice into their evil client or whatever. Anyway, don't write to me because I'm not going to be a nice guy. And Matt, if they try to smear me, I presume it won't affect our ranking.
Our beautiful friendship.
Our beautiful friendship.
You got to be on the cuts list.
I miss Matt. We need to get Matt back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of what happens with
Yeah, heck yeah. I'll talk to him.
Get the cut man on.
Send him an email.
He's such a sweetie.
He's super. Yeah, he really is.
Google fights stunning erasure gag order on First Amendment grounds. It's stunning.
Well, that's my word. Stunning.
What is this? Google fights gag order. This is from the Houston Chronicle.
So some guys said you got to take down all these lists about me on and Google of course says no.
We see these lawsuits all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then a court said they had. Now I can't.
I can't read it because I'm not a subscriber to the Houston Chronicle.
I read it once, and now I can't read it again. Well, you know what? Never mind. Houston Chronicle.
You lose.
Paywall.
Never mind. Next story, Leo.
There's been a lot of them. Who was that? The guy who there was pictures circulating of him at an orgy, and he wanted Google to take him down. How about animated GIFs as high art?
GIFs. GIFs.
This is kind of cool. So London's famous Saatchi Gallery teamed up with Google Plus for the Motion Photography Prize, the world's first competition for artists working with animated GIFs.
I have a wonderful colleague here at CUNY named John Smock, who's in charge of our photography, and he wanted to teach animated GIFs, and I just went after him for a half an hour saying, oh my God, this is the end of journalism, Western civilization, aesthetics, everything that is holy.
You are wrong, sir.
Do that.
You are wrong. This is the Saatchi Gallery, London, England.
We showed during the last U.S. Open that I'd shot tennis players doing their things, and I admitted the errors of my ways. And now I've actually seen some cool.
This one is the winner. It is Brooklyn artist Christina Rinaldi. It's of a window washer, and I presume it's just. I don't know if it's Auto Awesome gift or if she did it.
I'm sure it's manually done, but
yeah, I'm
it's
sure she
quite beautiful.
It is beautiful. There's some really nice ones in this.
Here's another one. This is from Kostas Agianatis, a cinematographer from Rhodes, Greece. You might say, wait a minute, that's not animated, but if you look closely, her hair is blowing in the wind as she looks at a
and the record is spinning.
Oh, is the record spinning? Oh, yes, it is. So that is not what I call an animated GIF. This is what I call a cinematograph.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess the distinction is lost on the prestigious Saatchi Gallery. I like that. Cinemagraphs, and there's an app that does this called Cinemagraph, but there are other apps that do it. You can say this part should be moving, this part should be moving, but not the rest. Here's a kind of beautiful one of a guy standing in a pool underwater. And the reflections of the light. He's not moving with it. Again, a cinemagraph. Unless, I guess, maybe he's just not moving. This is for the artist Matthew Clark, shortlisted for the night category. I don't know if I like this. But you see a person walking by, a fella sitting on the sidewalk, and this fella's moving back and forth.
I like the pigeon.
Here's a pigeon from Mikhail Renault. A pigeon.
I want it noted that none of these winners have cats.
There are no cats.
No cats
in these animated GIFs.
Nope.
There are no cats. I don't know what makes that special. Anyway, this is an article from CNN. I really do like the winner, though. I think that's quite nice. Because the patterns made by the soap suds as he wipes them off the window are quite interesting. Now I'm going to start playing with it. Is Auto Awesome the best way to make an animated GIF?
No, there's better tools. Because Auto Awesome, you don't control. You don't know which images it's going to use and all that.
Does it for you automatically. Yeah. I don't know, but, I should plug And Then I Was Like, which is from a former Lifehacker editor. And Then I Was Like.com. It's selfie GIFs.
Selfies, not belfies,
that's
right?
Combining two horrible
selfie
into one
you
mega.
sit in front of your webcam.
.co, not .com. It's .co.
Right. So you sit in front of your webcam and you make a face.
Okay, let me do it. All right. All right. Okay. I'm going to do it through Google. Why not? Yep. This is that Google login. See how easy that is? I love that. So
very
easy.
Nice.
All right. Click allow to turn on your webcam. Okay. My webcam is now on. Okay. On the count of 3, you have 3 seconds to record your GIF. All right. Ready? All right, I've recorded a GIF.
Come on, tell me that's not awesome.
Okay, now you can have normal looping action or back and forth, which in this particular case doesn't really matter.
This is made by Adam Pash.
Adam Pash made this?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he did.
What is that address again, Gina?
And then I was like.co.
Yeah, and then I was like .co because it's supposed to be your reaction thing. So.
Oh, you can do a jaw drop. Shall I do a jaw drop after it's done saving?
Yeah.
So that's that we were talking about the other day is instead of shooting.
Come on, isn't that fun?
I like that. I want to do a jaw drop. And now I want to do another one. Oh, 3 seconds. Did it get it?
No.
What happened?
It's asking for a caption, I think.
Oh, it wants a caption. Okay, let's try this. 1, 2, 3. I can't see anything. You know, it's not. Oh, it's not allowing it. That's why. All right, we got to start over. It's getting blackness. Okay. Yeah, stop it. No, start over. Okay. I'm ready for my close-up.
I knew you would like this.
No, that's not what I wanted.
There's no action.
You have to tell me when
you did
action
it too fast. You did it too fast. It counts down. So wait.
3, 2,
wait.
1.
We keep waiting and go.
It's terrible.
That's great.
It looks like a fish. All right, we've spent way too much time on that. Let's
make a whole show of that.
Oh my God.
Okay, I can do better. I can. I'll do it later though. And then does this automatically post it somewhere?
It just gives you a URL and you can share it where you want. I don't believe it's public by default though.
Okay. Record 3 seconds of video with your webcam. Edit the video. Oh, you can edit it and then save it. So this is pretty sophisticated. Adam, nice job.
Yeah.
And he worked with Ellen Flaherty, who's a designer.
See, everything's design.
It's all about design. Look at these icons.
He went to hacker school and got into webcam. So
he went to hacker school?
He did, yeah.
What's hacker school?
Yeah, hacker school is that it's that program. It's here in New York. It's for aspiring. It's like a summer-long program for people aspiring coders, and they have like.
So he wasn't a coder before?
He dabbled quite a bit when we were at Lifehacker on like side projects and things, but he felt like he just wanted to get better at it and be more competent. So he did hacker school for a few months, and then I was like, is one of the things that came out of it. And he's working on a couple other projects too now.
I want to go to hacker school.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Google is testing a new service for the Chrome browser called Google Stars that will let you star items on the web as well as add them to folders. Once saved, these items are called stars, and they can be searched for as well as shared with others. So it's kind of, I don't know, Google's stumble upon. Now it's kind
of like Twitter stars, but favorites. But now you can do it to the whole web.
Star the web.
What do you do with it?
Wow.
You know what we haven't done, Leo?
The change log. I just realized that. Holy moly, ladies and gentlemen! My God. What have we been thinking? It's time for
the Google Change Log.
And now, here's Gina Trapani with the latest from Google.
Time-lapse. Google Street View is rolling out time-lapse photos to its Street View feature, which lets you go back in time and see previous photos the Google Street Maps car took of the same place.
That's neat.
Yeah, really cool. Once you have the feature enabled, and I'm not seeing it here on my maps. I don't know if you.
I haven't. I was looking for it just earlier.
Yeah,
you'll get an hourglass, right?
Yeah, you'll get an hourglass. I'm not quite seeing that yet. You'll get a little time icon and a slider control that lets you slide back. So you'll see Chad's got the video up there. You can see if you go to, say, One World Trade Center or the Freedom Tower, you can go back and see the construction. You can see buildings kind of pop up out of the ground, which is really cool. Google says the new feature lets you see landmarks growth, or you can see things like reconstruction after 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan, and you can even experience different seasons and see what it would be like to cruise roadways in both summer and winter. So yeah, really neat. Time lapse.
When I first saw this, I thought, oh cool, I could go back to 1856 or something, but the Street View wasn't around back then.
No, Street View was only around about 7 years, and the photos are about 1 to 2 years old. So you can really kind of see there's big differences between them, especially in construction sites like down at World Trade Center. What else do we have? Oh, and updates to the Hangouts app for Android that will be released later this week merges SMS and Hangout conversations and with the same user in a single log. So if you start a conversation with someone over at SMS and later you chat with them via regular Hangouts, you see all those messages kind of in the same view. If you don't like this change, no big deal. You can disable it on the fly, and you can switch between SMS or Hangouts while you're chatting with someone. So you'll get the choice to text that person or just regular Hangout them. And you can see in that screenshot, I think the Hangout messages and the SMS messages are shown differently. I think one's white and one's green. So you can kind of tell, which way it was sent. Right, and there's a little via SMS below each message. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still don't use Hangouts for SMS. It's too heavyweight.
Unified messaging happening. So what do you do? Did you download a separate texting app like Textra or something?
I've tried a bunch of them. I just use the HTC app.
You just use the HTC app? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't mind using Hangouts, but I've had a lot of people say that they don't want their SMS and Hangouts, and they just
So you use Hangouts for your text messaging?
You know, I use Google Voice, so I don't actually even use the native texting app. I just use Voice for everything.
Which is really
so
clunky.
It's not. Yeah,
now, Voice kind of, I don't know how, but Voice ties in with the text messaging app, the native text messaging app on your phone. So I'll get Google Voice texts in my SMS, and then if I respond to that, then it stays within Voice. Yes. But if I initiate, I have to initiate in Voice if I want it to be from my voice number.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's a little weird.
It's all very weird.
We need a unified system and that would also allow third parties like Facebook Messenger to become part of it.
Agreed. Absolutely. I look forward to Google Voice being part of Hangouts because it's clearly been a neglected Android app, and that's clearly the road they're going down.
Yep.
What else do we have? Oh, Google Trends. So this is the tool that shows you what users are searching for on Google. Now offers email subscriptions. So if you want to keep on top of a sports team, a celebrity, or a brand, you can subscribe to get email notifications if searches for those topics spike, and you get those email notifications once a week or once a month. You can also subscribe to hot searches for any country, or any U.S. monthly top chart, entertainment, news, etc. So you can kind of keep on top of what's popular amongst web searchers. And finally, Google Analytics, making life easier for app developers and content providers. And a new update that's rolling out in the next few weeks, the Analytics app will merge web and app data into a single report. So if you've got content on the web and you've got content inside of an app, Google Analytics will show those all in one space. So instead of talking about visits, which only makes sense on the web, Analytics now refers to sessions. So it's users in both your app and on the web. And instead of calling people visitors, like it was what kind of traditional conventional web terms, they're just called users now. So merging app and web, which is kind of interesting. So you can get better reporting and better insights about how your users are interacting with your stuff across different touch points. That's it. That's all I got.
Play the drums slowly. The Google change log.
Now I want to put the soundtrack behind your wanging finger things. I want to use that music behind that. In time.
That was a good one.
I will share that to Google Plus, and you guys can do whatever you wish with it. Before we wrap up, a couple of quick stories. I know this was a big one for you, Jeff, so I don't want to let it go. FCC proposal that would destroy net neutrality, according to The Verge.
According to the Wall Street Journal.
And the Journal. Okay, well, the Verge is quoting the Journal, so let's go to the original. The FCC plans to propose a new open internet rule on Thursday that would allow content companies to pay internet service providers for special access to consumers.
So let's be very clear here, folks. That's not net neutrality. That's not an open internet rule.
The opposite.
That is killing net neutrality.
So apparently they think they're going to.
We need.
Yeah.
Right there.
I want that animated GIF. Apparently they think they're going to fool regular people by saying the rules would prevent the service providers from blocking or discriminating against specific websites. Like, that's the problem. But would allow broadband providers to give some traffic preferential treatment so long as such arrangements are available on commercially reasonable terms.
Yeah, so in other words, we're going to charge you for decent carriage of your content. Everything else is going to be delivered like molasses.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. It is terrible. It is wrong, wrong, wrong. It kills the internet. FCC. Guess what the F stands for?
This is really disappointing. Now, the chairman of the FCC, Tom Wheeler, former cable company lobbyist, has absolutely got to take the flack for this.
He absolutely does. The revolving door went around and slapped his butt as he's going in to the FCC. It's just awful, just terrible.
He says he's following the roadmap that the court prescribed to give the FCC jurisdiction here. But to say, oh yeah, you can't block a website, which was never at issue.
Nope.
But you can charge for access to consumers, which is exactly the issue. This is not an open internet rule. This is a closed.
This is the exact opposite. This is a kill the internet rule. FUFCC.
Funnel cake? Fandango? Frilly? Whether the terms are commercially reasonable would be decided by the FCC on a case-by-case basis. So,
yeah, that's going to work well.
Yeah, if Comcast wants to squeeze Twit and say, hey, if you would desire to reach our customers with your programming, we'd like to charge you $1 million, then I would have to go to the FCC and say, wait a minute, that's not commercially reasonable. And then
and Comcast has 87,000 lawyers and you have none.
And then, 5 years later,
service advertiser that gives you forms you can fill out, but you don't have lobbyists.
The companies would be paying for preferential treatment on the last mile of broadband networks that connects directly to consumers. The words preferential treatment.
Right there.
That should tell you something.
Listen, Techville out there. You fought Sopa Pipa? What was that? Gee, I want to be able to watch a movie. That was nothing. That was unimportant. This is the very heart, soul, and essence of the internet. Fight, people. Fight.
This has nothing to do with
that signal time.
This has nothing to do with what Netflix already paid Comcast for, the peering. This isn't about peering. This isn't about back-end and interconnection. This is saying if you would like to get to the house, what are you going to give us?
I just don't get this. What is the point of this? Why?
Because
unless the Wall Street Journal was wrong. Unless the Wall Street Journal got it wrong. and it's a trial balloon, and we don't know.
We'll find out on Thursday.
If true, it is utterly, completely, absolutely disgusting. And I'm telling you, people, to the barricades. Don't. Gina and I have this conversation on the show very often. All you geeks think you can hack around something. You can't hack around this. This ruins the internet. This ruins it for companies like Twig.
It does open an opportunity for an internet service provider that chooses not to do this. The problem is the same FCC gave these duopoly rules, which means we don't have, in most cases, choice between more than one or two internet service providers. So
even if you do, who is it? In my case, it's Cablevision and Verizon.
Well, I can give you an example. SonicNet, which is a great independent internet service provider, is here up. They would, of course, never do this. But the problem is they come in over copper. They're a DSL provider. There is no way to do it over cable. That's not allowed. So they come in over copper. So they're kind of I think, at the mercy of the phone companies, and I'm sure the phone companies will find ways to screw these guys. Oh, this is really bad news. I'm glad we ended the show with this and I didn't begin it. I wouldn't have been happy. This is terrible. Let's watch with interest tomorrow. They have not been released, but this is a huge departure from previous open internet rules. This is Tom Wheeler cashing the check from the cable companies.
Yep. Mr. Wheeler, we know what's in your wallet. All right, last week when I brought the show down, I tried to get a little amusement back into it then. So I'll try that again this week.
Amuse us.
The Google Glass, there's a funny bank ad mocks glass.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So I'm going to play that for you now here. I think I might have seen this, actually.
Well, maybe it's old. I don't know. But I don't think
no, I think I saw this on Time because...
It's Time, yeah.
Yeah. First Bank.
Who wants more peas?
She's watching TV.
Go away.
Oh, Daddy hates pop-up ads.
Go away.
Hashtag dinner time.
Scroll forward.
Choose selfie. No. Selfie.
Go forward.
Delete selfie.
Go away.
Then picture.
Bookmark. Go away.
No, post photo.
Scroll up. Scroll forward.
Hashtag gravy.
So Mom is serving dinner. This has nothing to do with a bank, by the way. Obviously, they just felt like we ought to really skewer glass here. I think this is kind of true.
Go away.
Dad's pushing away pop-ups. Mom's putting the peas on the table because she's watching TV while she's serving. The son is playing video games. The daughter's trying to, food spot. This isn't so far from reality.
It isn't.
Oh, it isn't actually.
Frankly.
So what happened? Scoble did a 180 on glass.
Well, that was you couldn't see that coming, could you?
What is he? He doesn't like it now?
Apparently.
Last night, before Skrillex at Coachella came on, two guys were talking next to me, says Robert Scoble. One said, "I want to get away from the Google Glass guys." I turn around and there are two guys wearing glass. Google has a problem here. I haven't worn mine all weekend.
Oh, Robert goes to Coachella.
He did. He took a lot of pictures at Coachella.
Not from glass.
With his camera, not with his glass.
Yeah, with his very big camera.
So
I have been saying this all along, by the way. I just want to point out.
You hear somebody random say, "I want to get away from those guys with glass," and okay.
Google says this is because we didn't have enough people wearing glass. It was too small a rollout. Marketing a guy responding, in fact, to this backlash. Marketing guy Ed Sanders says the backlash is a result of the way Google decided to roll out glass. But it was a deliberate decision to do it that way with a limited public beta surrounded by a nimbus of hype and curiosity. It was an unusual step of doing it so exposed, and risks come with that. Actually, some of this is a quote, some of this is not. This is Forbes writer Jeff Berkovicki. But the quote is, "We knew there would be downsides, but we also knew and know there would be a tremendous upside." So I guess this makes sense. In fact, any publicity is good publicity. Having Robert Scoble bitch about glass on Facebook is good for them.
As somebody said on Twitter, glass going to take off. Buy glass futures.
I don't think so.
Scoble gives them up. No one Scoble gives them up.
I know, but I frankly don't think. I think
no.
This is a fascinating experiment.
But interesting that the $1,500 price point was chosen to only get people who are interested, not based on the hardware. Which I got to tell you, I didn't love that.
Makes me feel like a schmuck.
It doesn't choose for people who are really interested. It chooses for people who are really rich, right?
Yes.
I mean,
which for whom $1,500 is not a challenge. Exactly.
And there are other ways to limit access, right? Like I'm sure there are plenty of explorers, and I know that there are plenty of explorers who got chosen but couldn't afford it. I mean, we saw lots of Indiegogo campaigns and people trying to get, trying to pay for glass in different ways. So I didn't love that so much. I was like, if you want all your beta testers to be rich, then that's what you do. But I don't think that was the point.
Sanders, who is in charge of marketing for Glass, says nothing great has been achieved where it's incremental. You have to go all in. But it is the high price point, another quote, isn't about the cost of the device. We want people who are going to be passionate about it. But does that really mean that it didn't cost them that much?
I mean, that sounds like the implication, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they wanted people who were so passionate they were willing to, raise money for it.
Well. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, tool tip number. We'll wrap this puppy up. Our show today brought to you by Snacks. Here comes my nature box. Bring me my nature box. I feel like old King Cole. Nature, you know about this. This is snacks delivered to your door every month. There are 3 different size boxes. You can go to naturebox.com/twit, put together your first box, and get 50% off it. Now, what makes NatureBox unique is that these are not only great tasting, delicious snacks, but they're healthy too. No trans fats, zero high fructose corn syrup, nothing artificial, no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors. This is good stuff. You can select by your dietary needs, of course, vegan, soy-free, gluten-conscious, lactose-free, nut-free, non-GMO. Also by taste, savory, sweet, or spicy. But my suggestion is on that first box, just get an assortment because there's so many great things. What am I opening here? Oh, peppery pistachios. So this is a good example of just a delicious, healthy snack. So much better than going to the machine and getting a candy bar.
Apple pie clusters.
Oh, those are good. Oh, those are good.
I gotta get the
Mango fruit chews.
All right, you know what? You would really like this then. I can see you're going with the fruit. Blueberry almond bites. Crispy almond and rice squares with blueberries. Now, all these bags are resealable. They have their, that Ziploc thing. So, oh, look at this. Okay, I'm going to...
Citrus chipotle chickpea.
That sounds amazing. The citrus chipotle chickpea sounds good.
How about...
Seaweed rice pops, not so much.
Well...
But that's the thing.
You can pick your choose. Go ahead.
I'll not pick the seaweed rice pops.
Free shipping anywhere in the U.S. Delicious. 3, 6, or 12-month subscriptions, or just get that first box and try it today. Naturebox.com/twit. It's my favorite part of the show.
Praline pumpkin seeds.
That's good. I've had those.
Whole wheat apple pie figgy bars. I just like saying that.
They do a number of different figgy bars that are fabulous. Don't go to the evil vending machine, my friends. Go to naturebox.com/twit. This is really good. Wow. It's like healthy Rice Krispie treats, kind of.
Would I rather have regular shipments of razor blades or
get both?
Chewy box. Yeah, I want them both.
Did you ever get? Did we send you? Was it you that I sent the Harry's box to? I can't remember.
No, because I already have Harry's. I already have.
Oh, you already have Harry's. So tell us about this shaving thing. Is this for charity?
No, I was for you.
You want me to shave?
No, there were 2 shaving sponsors who were fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you can have my face.
Oh, I get it. So whoever wins gets to shave you.
If it's enough. And if it's on Twig. Not just Twit. Gotta be
you got to buy Twig.
Oh.
All right, Harry's, listen up.
Be on Twig.
Listen up, Harry's. He's already a Harry's customer. Martin in Europe says the NatureBox ads are torture.
For us too.
Man.
But who's not in the studio.
Time for Gina's tip of the week.
Well, I gotta tell you, I was having a hard time finding a tip this week. So, and then I was like, .co, you should definitely check out. And I couldn't remember if we covered it on this show because I know we talked about definitely on All About Android. But did you cover the LastPass update where now it does autofill on Android? Did we talk?
Feels
about
like
this?
we did. I love it.
I apologize if we've covered this already.
And I think now, see if this sounds familiar, because I found a bug in it that caused the HTC One M8 camera to crash every time.
Oh, that's crazy. The camera.
Yeah, because the camera didn't expect OnePass for some reason, or LastPass to pop up. For some reason, LastPass wanted to pop up.
Oh,
so
weird.
it puzzled me. Now, this pop-up is great. It's inconsistent, unfortunately. And something, I don't know, for some reason, I'm able to find a lot of sites that won't let me paste. So when it works right, it works wonderfully. So you're on a site like Path, for instance, and you want to log into Path.
An
Like
app,
the native
not just
app.
a site.
Not just a site, the native app.
Did I say site? I meant app, exactly. In fact, let me log out of Path so I can show you what this looks like, because it's really awesome. So I want to log out of Path, and then I will log back in. So you launch Path, you say log in, and if you have LastPass on your Android device, and you start typing the password, it's not going to do it, is it? There it is.
There it is.
Now don't look, because I have a PIN. And by the way, I would recommend that you do that. Require at least a PIN, if not a full login. But once I gave the PIN, which I did, it says, "Oh, you're on Path. Should I fill it in?" I tap it. It fills it in, and I'm done. And I'm going to log in.
Yeah,
so that is a really nice feature. Now, there's a couple of weirdnesses. Sometimes it doesn't pop up. Sometimes it does pop up and it says copy and paste, copy and paste. It can't autofill. And then sometimes on sites, I don't know about you, but I've found sites where I can't paste. Not sites, but apps.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So
I haven't run into that. It works for me more often than not.
It works enough, yeah.
And it makes me so happy because it used to be copy, add to the notification shade, and flip it, copy and paste. That was such a pain. It was such a rigmarole, but it's so much better now. Yeah. So yeah, it's got a little weirdness here and there, but for the
better
most
than
part,
nothing.
I'm really loving it. Yeah.
Everybody knows because we've told them that because of the Heartbleed bug that you should be using a password vault. We love LastPass. I do want to point out one other way that you could do this before. This new feature is really nice. But you also get a LastPass keyboard, and you can, and it's a crappy keyboard, but I do make it my default keyboard when I'm first setting up a new phone, because then it's kind of the same thing. When the keyboard comes up, you could say, hey, just fill it in. So that was the previous way of doing it, and it's still around. LastPass is a must-have on Android, on iOS, on Mac, on Windows. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like I've cheerleaded for LastPass a few times, but that particular feature has been, it still delights me every time it works. I'm like, oh, because I set up my new M8 and it was like so much easier with that. Yeah.
So one other issue, as I mentioned, at least on the HTC version of the M8, the camera app was crashing, and I did a lot of searching and I finally found it. I think LastPass has fixed it within an update. But when I was launching the camera app, for some reason it was launching. LastPass was trying to launch its pop-up, and it would crash the camera app. All I had to do is go into the LastPass settings and say, and because you can control which apps launch. Again, I'm not going to show
and
my
say
pass. And say don't launch.
Right, don't launch for this app. Yep. Yeah, that wasn't happening with the Google Play Edition, and it's not happening with the regular Google camera from the Play Store, which is what I'm using now.
Does the Google Play Edition of the M8 come with the Google camera? Or an actual HTC camera?
It comes with the Google camera, but it's a special version. Like they forked the Google camera to include the focus shifting and the 3D, so it has a few of the HTC features. Yeah. I think it's actually a special build. Yeah.
Got it. So here's where you change it. This is in the LastPass preferences. First of all, you have to enable fill into apps. That's not on by default. So you want to go into LastPass preferences. Scroll down and enable fill into apps. That's what Gina's talking about. And then the app associations are a list, and that's where you can say, hey, when the camera launches, please don't try to do a password login. That's the first one I found. There may be others, and of course LastPass probably fixes it as time goes by. But just a little tip if you do have a problem with a crashing app all of a sudden. You know what it was? It was the confluence of a new phone and then an update to LastPass, and neither could test because both were brand new.
Right.
Not unusual. Jeff, I highly recommend it. Jeff, your number of the week.
All right, I'm a little confused about this number. Maybe you can explain it to me, Lucy. So, as you remember, Google did a stock split, and it came out with Class C shares, a brand new kind, which are non-voting. Class A shares are voting.
Right.
And a price differential has developed.
There wasn't supposed to be
$11.
$11. Okay.
$11 on average, according to the story that I have or today, the Class Google shares, which are Class C, is $527. Google, G-O-G-L shares, which are Class A, is $537. So you're talking about $11 between. So the non-voting shares are worth more than the voting shares.
What?
Huh? What?
That doesn't make sense to me. Did I get the story wrong? You would think that the voting shares would be worth more than the non-voting shares, right?
Yeah.
Unless the story got it reversed.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
Weird.
Everything that happens on the stock market is a mystery to me.
Yes, it
is. Me too, unfortunately.
No, not unfortunate.
Yeah, Leo, go short one of them, but I don't know which one.
I'm going to short something.
What shorting means.
I'm going to short something. How do you do that again?
The number is 11, but I don't know what it means.
$11 a share. I was going to actually do that Google Maps time machine thing as.
Oh, whoops! I'm sorry.
No, I don't care because you got it in. That's a better place for it, really. I guess this isn't a tool, but I do want a warning if you haven't upgraded to KitKat yet and you use an SD card. And I actually wanted to ask you about this, Gina, because you're the developer here. Have you talked about this on All About Android? But in KitKat on 4.4. Google really changes how SD cards are handled with file permissions. And I think this is a long Google group posting, which includes a response from Jeff Sharkey, who's on the team, on the Android team. Before KitKat, public APIs only supported a single primary external storage device. And most of the time that was emulated. It was the internal storage, not the SD card. Primary external storage devices, that is SD0 on most Android devices, they continue to work the way they always have. However, the SD card, secondary external storage devices, they have limited write access to directories belonging to the app. Now, this makes sense. An app shouldn't be able to write anywhere it wants on the SD card. At least it seems to make sense initially. But it breaks a ton of apps, and developers are really pissed off. And there are a lot of use cases where it makes sense, especially camera apps, things like that, where an app might want to be able to write. Let's say you take a picture with an app. The app has its own storage in the SD card, but it would like to save the picture to the camera's store. It can't because it doesn't have access. Now, that's a security thing, I think.
Yeah, they do. Android does sandbox app permissions to particular folders, which really is good practice.
But a warning, because this is new to KitKat. Before KitKat, some OEMs chose to leave external storage devices unprotected. In other words, apps could write wherever they want if they could understand the path. But he says these were never part of any public platform API. They were internal implementation detail. We warned you again and again, you shouldn't depend on these hidden behaviors. Well, now you're screwed. But as an end user, you might want to be aware of this, and you might check your app before you upgrade to KitKat if you haven't done so already. I haven't had any problems yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen any problems with this. I wonder how this manifests. I guess this is a crash, or it's
sometimes it'll crash. If the app is well written, it'll just say it can't write to that directory. But some apps crash.
Yeah, for the longest time, To Do Text assumed you had an SD card. This is early in our development, but it assumed you had an SD card. So, like, if you didn't, it would just crash. Like, it would try to write, and it would just crash. It was terrible. It was terrible.
So, like, if you have ES File Manager, which is a very popular file manager I use, it thinks it can delete files from other directories, but it can't. So it says I've deleted the file, and then you see it's still there. Yeah.
Is it obviously? So there's no way to request that permission. Wow.
Well, I think I kind of understand it. I mean, it is more secure, but it does make SD cards a lot less useful.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And it seems like that should be permission that the user could grant. I mean, a file manager, you want to give access to all your files that it can manage them.
Yes.
Right? I mean, the way that, like, for instance, Dropbox implements this in their API is that by default, apps get a certain folder, but you can ask for full permission to your entire Dropbox, but the user has to grant that. So, yeah, this is interesting. You can see the security argument, right? But it does render certain things like a file manager.
You'll also see then fewer apps using SD cards or working with SD cards because they can't or they won't.
Because they can't, yeah.
So that makes an SD card somewhat less usable and going forward in Android devices. Just thought I'd mention that. It's not a tool. It's kind of a tip. Hey, thank you. Good luck getting into Google I/O, you two. I wash my hands of it.
Can we prostate ourselves anymore or prostate ourselves?
You can prostate yourself.
You can prostate yourself.
Speak for yourself, Jarvis.
I can't anymore.
The prostate-free Jeff Jarvis will now prostrate himself for your benefit.
I'm also prostate-free, so.
Hey, there you go. Women don't have prostates? No wonder the rate of prostate cancer in women is so dramatically low.
2 sphincters, women have 1. We won't go into that today. I lost one of them.
I've been a man my whole life, and this is the first time I'm finding out about this. I'm devastated.
That's why
I need a user manual.
That's why we drip. I'm going to leave it at that.
La la la.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for being here. Jeff Jarvis, the City University of New York journalism professor there. He's also the author of Public Parts, blogs at buzzmachine.com. Must read. Must read. Gina is at ThinkUp. She's the CTO there. ThinkUp.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, do. It's great. We love it. I love the insights. It's made Twitter so much better for me.
Hey, so glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, I really love it. It's fun. So go there and sign up.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just looking right now, in fact, at my insights.
I miss you guys.
Here's the deal with Leo Laporte's tweets.
Oh,
Vince Cerf really got him going, huh?
That was a big one.
Yeah. There were 23 likes. Anyway, this is all ThinkUp stuff. Really recommend it. We do this show, This Week in Google, every Wednesday afternoon, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2000 UTC, on twit.tv. Please join us live if you can. You can even come to the studio if you email tickets at twit.tv. We'd be glad to welcome you and put a chair out for you. But also, you can get on-demand audio and video of each and every show merely by visiting twit.tv/twig or by subscribing. I think it's the best thing to do in Dogcatcher or Instacast or whatever it is you like to use, iTunes, to keep track of your Google Reader, to keep track of your podcasts. Hey, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Twig.